Morning, everyone. Paul here with GammaEdge. Today is Wednesday, the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you. Go ahead and pause your viewer, read this. It's important to you. It's important to us. So when you get done, go ahead and hit play. Overall, we're seeing some bullishness, not aggressive, but definitely improvement from where we've been. SPX, we had a drop in the net negative gamma, and we had an increase in the net positive gamma relative to the prior day. Same thing on the SPY. Same thing on the Qs. IWM is just broken. You can see how flat this is relative to the slope that we have here. There's just no call structure in IWM. A little bit of profit taking, we think, on IWM. But other than that, not looking aggressively to the upside. When we take a look at the SPX, SPY for the 0 DTE, of note here, we are below, we had a major shift yesterday, and we are below this key level 4,200. So there is a lot of puts that are in the money today. We also have this mixed expiry, which is relatively low to all of the other puts that are here, hence why this is still very dominant compared to the call side. But just note, these become what we call zeros, places to hide. So with this mixed expiry, just watch that some of these levels could actually attract us to those zeros. Because this is a cash settled index, there is no real pressure to take profits unless they get a feel that we're going to lose 4,200, and then of course deltas matter, etc. So we've had this discussion on moneyness many times. Make sure that you understand that discussion, and if you don't, join us in the Discord and ask questions, and we'll be happy to go through it. The SPY has kind of that same structure, mixed expiry. It's kind of ugly. It's on the other side of the zero. So we did transition in terms of the expiries to the positive side here. Frankly, we could see a little bit of monetization, which would be downside pressure in the SPY. The SPY, the Qs, and IWM are equity settled. So this does give traders a little bit of a reason, unless they want to hold these equity positions. It does give them reason to take whatever profits or protect whatever value they have left. I'll note though that we're in a transition area here. It's very poor. It's not what I would consider very strong. As such, I call it a messy structure. The Qs, pretty clean. We're to the right of the zero. We're between the goalposts. IWM, again, fairly clean. To the right of the zero, between the goalposts. Just watch these key levels. Like I said though earlier, I think IWM's broken. The overall histories, not seeing a lot in the SPY and the Qs. We did see net negative gamma come up for IWM historically. When that occurs, we're anticipating another down leg, and you can see visually the eye can show that we've actually been moving down. People put puts underneath these things, short-term gamma, to take advantage of a drop. So we'll see what happens with IWM. Basically, the flow not overly positive yesterday, even though we did see what we saw. We stalled out at 4,200 in the SPX. In general, puts were flat, calls were closed. Overall, that's bearish. Qs kind of flat to down, and IWM. It actually looked like we were going to do something here. We had the puts closing, but then you can see they were added back in, not aggressively. And you can see the call structure up slightly, but not what I would consider aggressive. So as I said here, kind of meh, not really seeing any pressure one way or the other. The cumulative tick model, we did get our continuation. Always like to see that off of a intraday reversal. We need a continuation to go on here at 2. So today we need to see continued buying. Still want to highlight we are in this long-term downtrend. Just be aware of that. Taking a look at the overall structures, we have had a major drop in the zeros. Typically, that is due largely to, well, one, rates are going up, but two, that's due largely to puts being added to the overall complexes. Now, the wing charts did not support that thesis, so we'll have to watch and see what's happening. The fact that we're seeing these zeros drop, it could be just normal theta decay and value dropping in both gamma and delta, but we do want to watch what's happening here. You can see the 4203 levels is a fairly close overhead level, and then 4261 is rapidly approaching, and 4250, 4240 in that area is another area we'll talk about here shortly. So just keep an eye on these levels. The June ES, both zeros have dropped just like they did on the SPX. The overall gamma levels are remaining intact. I do note that we're having vol come out. As vol comes out, demand comes out. The fact that the gamma zeros and the delta zeros are dropping is indicative of puts being closed. It's not enough to change the levels, but it is enough to show, or excuse me, puts being added, but it is enough to move these zeros down. So we want to watch that. It's kind of a divergence indicator off the wing charts, and so we want to see what's happening here. Taking a look, you know, the eye, as I said yesterday, the eye is a great filter. You can see a lot of red here, not a lot of green. A lot of puts that are out there right now. You're sitting here at 4175. We're still deep in the red. Transition area is ugly, back and forth, lots of zeros to play in. Key levels indicated. Study this chart, it's pretty important. You can see the relative magnitude of what we're going to have to plow through to go up. Expiration, relatively weak across the board. The Friday expiries, this Friday, next Friday, and then finally the monthly here, relatively unchanged. We could see just a grind upwards based on this. We'll just have to wait and see, but there is not a lot of pressure here to move one way or the other. When we see this, we typically enter a period where Vanna, Voma, etc., the second order derivatives of the Greeks start to show up. So we definitely want to watch that and watch the impact of theta decay. The 0 DTE, overall it's weak. You can see it's negative, very small numbers. Here at 42.75 is the primary expiry today. Not anticipating we'll get there. This transition area shown by square 4 shows you pretty cleanly that there are fairly strong levels in for the expiry today. We could actually hide in these zeros. We've seen it before on a 0 DTE, especially with a weak structure. Below this, you can see a lot of red, and that red structure, basically, if we get any downward movement here today, that could actually accelerate us down, and who knows how fast we could rip down. It's just with all of this negative gamma coming off today, we could plunge down, and then you can get a reversal as people monetize. Remember, SPX is cash settled, so there's no real impetus to worry about equity settlement. But nevertheless, if we drop down, the moneyness changes, and then we could actually get an event which pushes us north. I don't think we're going any higher than the 42.75, and you can see the different levels here. I also don't think we're going to go much below this, and you'll see why here in a second. So when we take a look at the overall combo, which is AM plus PM, negative, still hugely negative, and I want to call out the open, high, low, close expected move. We're back up over 4 now. This is intraday, of course. We're sitting here at 41.75. The entire range of what's shown in front of you is visible now. Net negative gamma below 42.35. We're down here at 41.75, so we're deep in that structure, as you saw earlier. You can see visually all the different levels that you've got here for gamma. These will become areas of liquidity. I don't think we're going to push into the close above 42.35, 42.40, but because of the FOMC, we could, have a news event which would push us up. Any push higher aggressively, I think, is going to be terminated by 4,300. huge delta level here, huge negative gamma level here, and you can see some other hiding places where we're back and forth within that transition zone. To the downside, 4,200, we're below that right now. If we get above that, we could start playing in this area, but again, I don't think we're going to push high. Aside from a news event from the FOMC. If we can't get above that 4,200, I think 4,150 will be in play, and you can see the net delta levels here. And then that opens the door to negative GEX, which is 4,100, which is 36 billion to the downside. And then even lower here is the POI, which is not shown here, which is even lower. So just keep this in mind. I think we're heavily negative, of course, but how we play today will be largely news driven, and that's reflected in the downside protection that you see here on the expected move. So finally, taking a look at the trajectories for today, not a lot in the way of bullish setups. We're 2 days in now on this cumulative tick. We need to see a continued buying, weak or strong, doesn't matter, but we need upward progress. The wing charts are showing the drop of the puts, which is good, and some addition of the calls, that's good too, but not aggressive, right? You saw the GEX distributions there, and still heavily weighted on the put side. So what to do there? Watch that 42.35, 42.40, which is the bottom of the transition. We could play from 4,200 up towards that area. So if we take 4,200, I would expect that we would push upward toward the bottom of that transition. Time frame is today. Just thinking about the FOMC. We'll just have to wait and see. I think we're going to be on pause pretty much until FOMC comes out. Bearish, I actually have a lot more confidence in the bearish side. We're in that longer term downtrend, high negative gamma, no demand for calls, price tends to go where gamma is, and that's down. We have the FOMC, which is given the volatility. I'm thinking play the downside off 4,200 if it occurs. I think that 4,150, 4,175, all those 25, ending in 5 or 0 levels that we talked about are real. I've called out over here what I think are real key levels for us to watch today. So if we can't get above that 4,203, 4,200 level, then I would watch downside 71.35, 25, and 4,100, and below 4,100. Look out below, because there's no support down to 4,000. So that's it for today. If you liked what you've seen or have any questions, please join us in our Discord, GammaEdge.us. 14-day free trial, no risk to you. Come on in, kick the tires, talk to everyone. It's a great group, all levels of traders. All size portfolios too. Follow us on Twitter, please, with an S, GammaEdge is with an S, and then here on YouTube. If you like today's content, hit that like button. Really appreciate that. And of course, follow us so that next time we post something, you'll get notified. So make it a great hump day. May the 4th be with you. Tongue in cheek, of course. Good luck to us all. Take care.